Hello, Waygookin here from Waygookinway.com, and as you probably know, one of the most important things most people have today is a cell phone. And so for those of you looking to go to Korea, whether you're there for a visit or moving there, a cell phone is going to be very vital for you because the right phone can do everything. Your phone will be your GPS, your phone will be your picture and video taker, your phone will be your translator and dictionary as well. So what type of phone should you get? What should you look for? As you can tell, I have two phones that are not the newest models out, but will still get the job done for a lot of people. Right here, we have the Nexus 5X from LG. Right here, we have the OnePlus 2 from OnePlus. So, of the two phones, my favorite is going to be the OnePlus 2. One of the things I like about it is the 64 gigs of memory that's built in compared to the 32 on the Nexus phone. As far as camera goes, the Nexus does not have optical image stabilization, whereas the OnePlus 2 does have that. Also, if you're looking to shoot video in high def, the Nexus will shoot it in 1080p, whereas the OnePlus 2 can shoot up to 4K video. Now, if you're shooting video and you're trying to do things like YouTube, most people don't have a 4K monitor, so 4K isn't that big of a deal. And if most of the people watching your stuff happen to be on a mobile device where their video speed's being compressed to 480p anyway, then it won't matter as much. But if you just want to be able to shoot in 4K and play it back on a 4K TV, then that's something you would need to consider. The biggest advantage for me that the OnePlus 2 has is the fact that you can actually take the back off, which is not something that you can do on the Nexus. So, as you can see, both phones, obviously the battery is non-removable, but with the OnePlus, you can take out the area for the SIM card, and as you can tell, you can actually put two SIM cards in your phone. So that's a huge advantage if you're an international traveler, because you can have your home SIM card in one slot and you can have the SIM card you get in the other country in another spot. So to be able to take off the back and have easy access to this without having to have a key or try to find something to stick in a hole is a huge benefit. But as you can tell, the battery is not removable. The other big downfall to this particular phone, especially if you're going to Korea, is that this phone does not have NFC. Now, many people in America, it's questionable if you would use NFC, but NFC, when you're in Korea, you can use it to pay for your subway ride, you can pay for your taxi, you can pay for a lot of things via NFC. That's where the Nexus does have an advantage. So the Nexus does have NFC. The Nexus you can also use with Google Fi. Now it's questionable if Google Fi works with other phones just because they use a combination of Sprint, T-Mobile, and now US Cellular for their cell phone service. So the Nexus phone, of course, is a hybrid phone, meaning that meaning that it has both the CDMA and GSM radios. The OnePlus 2 you'll get by in Korea pretty much okay. There are one or two carriers that use CDMA for 2G, 3G connection, but as far as LTE connection, you're going to be pretty much on regular LTE using a SIM card. The Nexus phone and Google Fi, you can pay your bill automatically. Also with Google Fi, they do have international rates. So if you're taking a trip to Korea, you're not going to be there that long. You can get by with Google Fi. You just need to make sure you know how much they're going to charge you when it comes to your bill as far as using the internet, calling and texting while roaming in another country. And so Google Fi's website has all that information. The OnePlus 2, that'd be more if you're living in Korea or if you're going from different countries around Asia, since Korea is such a hub. The benefit again with the two SIM cards is you can have your home SIM card in one slot. That way you have cellular service when you're in the airport, and then when you go to your other country, you can rent a SIM card at the airport, pop it in, all without having to keep track of where you put the first SIM card. So that way when you go back home, You just switch back to SIM card 1 and you're good to go. With the Nexus phone, with the Google Fi service, if you take the Fi SIM card out, you will need to keep track of it just so you can put it back in and use it when you get home. Other differences on phones like this: fingerprint readers on the back on the Nexus. On the OnePlus, fingerprint is on the front of the phone. Cameras are there, as you can see. A lot just depends on what you're going to do. If NFC is a huge deal for you, then a phone like the OnePlus 2 is going to be a no-go. OnePlus 3, the newest version of the OnePlus 3, will be a go. Any Nexus phone, phones from Motorola that read both GSM and CDMA will work as well for the NFC. If you don't and you're looking for a sturdy phone, this with the metal railings across the side would definitely be a good place to go. So definitely going to be a little bit more durable than this Nexus phone is going to be. But the Nexus does get the job done for a lot of people as well. So there you go. Both of these phones, this one with 32 gigs of memory, this one with 64 gigs of memory, which naturally is not the actual amount you have after the software is loaded on. But both of these phones cost less than a Galaxy Note 7 or the latest iPhone. So definitely you would save money in having these two phones or phones like these. The Nexus you may not find for a while, unless you find it used online just because of the Google Pixel phones that are currently out. The OnePlus 2 you can get on OnePlus's website right now, as long as they keep that in stock, since they just released another version of the OnePlus 3. So definitely, if you're in the market for a smartphone that you can take overseas, these would be two that you would want to consider. One thing you do need to keep in mind with these phones is that at the bottom, get that to focus, you can see this is USB Type-C, not your micro USB. So if you don't have USB Type-C cables, you will need to get those. And a lot of times you can get those cables cheap online for under $10. If you go through Walmart, sometimes you can get them with free shipping. Other websites, I'm not sure how much they'll sell them for, but USB Type-C on these phones, USB Type-C is something you're going to see more of in the future. So if you don't have USB Type-C cables, you may want to invest in a few of those right now. As far as charging is concerned, the Nexus will charge faster than this OnePlus 2, just as a heads up. So the USB Type-C is supposed to be for fast charging. These don't. This phone doesn't do that. If you are looking for a phone that will do fast charging, if you're looking from OnePlus, the OnePlus 3 series is going to have that. So those will be the phones you would go with. Nexus, it's not the fastest charging phone in the world, but it does charge pretty quickly as long as you're using the cable that came with the phone. So that'd be another thing that you want to keep in mind. The main point of this is to just show you there are phones out there that you can get that are going to be unlocked. You can take them to Korea, you could take them to Japan if you want to take a weekend trip there, you could take them to China, and you can use the phone all without spending $700, $800, $900 on the phone. For me, excuse me, for me, having two phones is a better investment than having one phone, just because, say I was using my OnePlus 2 and it broke while I was overseas, I could easily switch service over to my Nexus phone and have that. So to get two phones that are both able to be used overseas for the price that's going to be $100 or $200 less than the new Galaxy 7 phone or iPhone, that's a much better buy for me. For you, it'll depend on what you do. So I always say make a list of things you're looking to use your phone for, gauge that way, and then decide what's going to be the better product for you personally. Definitely, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get what you need. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind the charging ports, as I mentioned. Keep in mind how much memory you're going to use. Keep in mind the camera as well. Excuse me. If you're curious about a smartphone, if it'll work in another country, go to the website willmyphonework.net. Again, that's willmyphonework.net. The reason you want to go there, you can go ahead, input the country that you're trying to go to. You can see what carriers are there, and you can put the phone that you have to see if it'll work. A note for people in the United States, the LTE frequencies used in the United States do not always transfer over to other countries, which means that just because you have an unlocked phone from AT&T or T-Mobile, it doesn't guarantee it'll work fully when you go to another country. So if you're looking to go to another country, you may want to see if you can just get an unlocked phone that reads their frequencies, and willmyphonework.net will let you know if that'll happen. The other thing to keep in mind, there are different versions of each phone. So for this OnePlus 2 phone, there is a North America version, there is a European version, there is a Chinese version. Those versions have different LTE bands available in them. So most definitely, if you're going to be in a certain area a lot, check that the LTE bands will work. If they're not going to work for you, then you may need to contact the phone maker to see if you can get a hold of, say, the European version or the version for China. If not, you may have to look online to see if you can find the phone used. So hopefully that'll give you some info and help you to save some money so you're not spending hundreds of dollars on a phone that you can't use, that won't have enough memory, that won't have the features that you're looking for. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the Waygookin. Thanks, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Goodbye.